Welcome to the Asset Protection Council. Today we're talking about asset protection in particular. And my guest is Ike Deji, of course, who is the lead attorney with the Asset Protection Council and probably the most experienced attorney in the council by far. And Lodmell, who actually is the director of the Asset Protection Council. So Ike, talk about asset protection.
It is increasingly important, indispensable part of any serious financial plan, right? I mean, we look at all the other things that go into financial planning, estate planning, asset allocation, estate types, avoidance, all of these different things. The old size, it's not just what you make, it's what you keep.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, or fortunately, you and I have worked for decades with a lot of people who are high net worth, high income, or both.
Yeah.
All right. And it's not always the same. So this is a vital issue, and it is one that successful Americans are very slowly becoming increasingly aware of.
Yeah. It's gone from an obscure area where you had to explain to people what asset protection is to an area where I never have to explain it anymore. Everyone knows what it is. Unfortunately, while it is now very well known, it's still not very well practiced. There was a very few real serious asset.
Lots of people have heard of it. Very few understand it.
Yes. Yeah. Or do it well. So, Ike, what can you tell us about the hijacking of justice in America?
Well, unfortunately, Doug, we're in a place where lawsuits are based as much on collectability as they are on liability. We have a large group of people out there looking to separate successful people from their wealth, regardless of their actual fault. And those people can only protect themselves before that happens. Most people are unfortunately not well enough advised or educated to know that asset protection planning even exists.
Yeah, that's the truth, isn't it? I mean, we've been doing this for 20, 30 years, and it's like, just still educating people that this is an area of law is a real thing. Like people still just don't even know this is real. They call us all the time, "What? I didn't know I could do this."
And it's especially surprising considering the caliber of advisors that many of the people that we talk to have in other areas, right? They have great transactional law attorneys. They might have great estate planning attorneys. They were also great CPAs, great financial advisors, or even family offices. And they're good at making money, but they are not as good at keeping money, which is where we've come in for some.
I think where the Asset Protection Council kicks in is educating those who are in front of the client. So educating the attorneys, educating the CPAs and the tax strategists, because that's where these people are going first.
Absolutely. We see this a lot, especially right now demographically, where we have so many successful American business owners who have pushed a rock uphill for 20 or 30 years. And they are now at the point where they have hit the business exit lottery. They're at a point where they can monetize their business and walk away with this large amount of money, and everybody is spending a great deal of time talking about how they're going to avoid estate taxes and what it's going to be invested in and how much life insurance that person needs. And I agree with all of those things, as I know you do. But what they're not talking about is how are we going to protect the bag? How are we going to make sure that this person never has to earn this money again?
Yeah.
And for most of these people, that's not a realistic possibility. Oh, if it took you 30 years to build a business to $100 million exit, you probably don't have 30 years left to do it again.
Even though you might be able to do it again, and many of our clients could do it again, but they just don't have the time left. Plus, they don't have a design.
Or the energy. Once they go through that type of wringing out, it's very difficult to recover and get back to a place where you even would have the desire, the energy to climb that mountain again.
And they shouldn't have to. I mean, how many times should you have to paint the same barn? You mean less? We want these folks that have been successful and done hard work the right way to enjoy it. And we want their families to enjoy it. We want it to be predictable. Years ago, somebody asked me why I work in this area of law. And I said, I love seeing people succeed. And it is much more pleasant for us to help protect people when we can than to tell them they're too late.
Yeah, we were talking today about too late. And, we must turn away 8, 10 people a month.
I personally turn away about 8 people a month.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're talking to an equal number, greater number that you have to tell the same story to.
Yeah.
And just the last 2 weeks, I have had to turn away 3 different 7 and 8 figure net worth people who either found me or referred to me, who are calling me a panic after something as simple as a car accident that they should be well insured against.
Yeah. And that theory of law, of course, is fraudulent transfer. If you transfer an asset, regardless up to who, with an intent to delayment or defraud a creditor, well, that transfer can be reversed. And that's kind of the Achilles heel of asset protection. If we can't even enforce the transfer into the plans, then how good the plan is doesn't really matter.
Right. And that's why I spent a lot of time giving introductory one-on-one level continuing legal education to these people about the UVTA, the Uniform Voidable Transaction Act. Yeah, I was explaining to them that you can't give it away, you can't transfer it into a trust, you can't move it offshore, you can't put it in an LLC or a partnership. All the things that we normally would do, which are very effective and well proven and predictable under blue skies, are no longer available to you in that position.
Yeah. As on first, the very point of education, figuring out how to communicate to your clients. I mean, people that I talk to through the APC, they'll say, well, yeah, I have a few people that might be interested. And I'm sitting from a perspective that your clients are interested. They just aren't well enough educated to know how valuable and important this is for them. So how do we get attorneys to know how to communicate the key points of not just maybe I'll do this someday, but today is mine.
Today is always the day. And it's always interesting to me that, especially with the advisors that we work with, and a big portion of the work that we do comes from professional advisors. A big portion of my business that the people I work for comes from their financial advisor, their CPA, their business attorney, their estate planning attorney. And in many cases, when people call us or contact us through that advisor after the fact, the comment I hear is always the same. I didn't think they had enough money to worry about it. The advisor says that. And then, now that something bad has happened, there is no amount of money that they would not spend to not have everything they've ever worked for at risk. But no matter who you pay or how much you pay them or what magic promises they make, timing is timing and you are done. And so it is always interesting. And the way I have explained it to some of these advisors is, of course, our $30 million client needs this player. And if he gets hit with a $3 million lawsuit, he will complain about it till his last breath. For sure. But it's not going to change his life. He's going to keep his house. His kids are going to stay in the same college. He's going to keep his country club membership. His marriage is going to stay the same. It's not going to disrupt his life. But our average working millionaire, a 55-year-old physician, can be wiped out by a $3 million lawsuit in a car accident. And so I think it's a little counterintuitive that the mass affluent community needs this even more than the high net worth and ultra high net worth, who of course need it as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, that is the counterintuitive part. And who it's most counterintuitive to is the advisors, not the clients. Because the clients that have $3 and $5 million, it's not counterintuitive to them at all. They're like, yes, I want to do it. But their advisors go, oh no, I don't need to present that to them. And I have talked to so many advisors who've literally said, well, I only have maybe 1 or 2 clients that would be a candidate. And I said, well, what do you mean? Because, well, I have one, he's worth $20 million. I have another one who's about to sell his business. He'll probably get $15 million. I said, well, what about all your other clients? Oh, well, they're only worth a couple of million. I'm like, they're the ones that didn't get more. They're the ones that really need it. And so it's about flipping the mentality around who needs asset protection. So your point is the right one. This is the millionaire next door. Yeah.
And that's what we have so many of those. Yeah, people are sometimes surprised. One of the questions that I get, and I know both of you get over and over, is how much money does someone have to have before they do asset protection? Right. And I have a couple of different answers. Number one is they need to have enough money to where if they lost it, they feel bad about it. And they would have to put a significant amount of effort into replacing it.
Yeah.
That's the first answer, and I think that's probably the most accurate. The second one is I tell them that the smartest people that I work for are not always the richest people that I work for. Meaning that, in many cases, we'll have a baby doctor with their first $100,000 come to us, and people are surprised that we will even talk to them or have anything to help them. And what I say is we help people where they are. If you have 50 million, we'll show you a plan that's good for that. If you have 1 million, we'll show you a plan for that. And if you're just starting out and on your way to accumulating a significant amount of wealth, we're going to show you what are the things you need to do today and what are the next steps that we're going to have you take as you reach different benchmarks. When you own a home, when you buy that first investment property, when you make that first investment in a surgical center, whatever it is that you're doing, we're going to have the right thing to do at the time. And sometimes for somebody that's just starting out, let's put a wrapper around your savings account. Let's make sure you're highly insured. Let's make sure that you have high limit umbrella policy, that you've got great disability insurance, and then we'll see what you need next if you need anything. And hopefully you will.
So if you're going to climb a mountain, when would you want the guy?
Right.
If you wanted when the avalanche occurs, or would you like to go ahead and have him back when you're doing your planning and buying your equipment for your adventure?
Right? Exactly. You don't head halfway up that mountain and find you're missing that oxygen tank.
Oh, yeah. These shoes are not armed.
So, that's a point I want to communicate to everyone is why wouldn't you want this as early in the game as possible? Why wouldn't you want to start your success with this and grow drove through it and had great advisors all along the way.
And we have those relationships going back decades. I mean, there are people that Doug and I talked to over 20 years ago who grew from working their first job to now owning a multi-specialty, multi-location medical practice. And their net worth went from 50,000 the first day we talked to them to 10 million now 20 years later. And people are, I am surprised still at how often these success stories happen now through determination, some skill, a little good luck, and a lot of hard work. Yeah. And none of which I want you to have to duplicate.
And the confidence that you have when you have good advisors makes you stronger.
Absolutely.
It makes you more effective.
Absolutely. We tell people that, what we are hopefully providing, at least in part, is peace of mind. We want you to be able to go out, practice fearlessly, run your business fearlessly, run your contracting company fearlessly, do your online sales project, whatever it is, knowing that you have taken the proper steps to protect yourself, your family, and every dollar you've ever earned.
So what would you tell an advisor who's watching this going, wow, this resonates with me?
Well, I think for advisors, number one, some of them have a professional responsibility. So we see that financial advisors, if we're carving out, different professions as one topic, have a duty in many cases, especially those who hold the CFP credential. Part of their professional responsibility is not only talking about estate planning, which is a part of the service they offer in terms of at least commenting on that, right? But also asset protection. And we find that even most CFPs don't pay a lot of attention to this because it is not emphasized to them in their own education.
It's not part of the CFP course, I can tell you. There's no asset protection section of your certified financial planning. It doesn't exist.
But there's some lines in there that say you should be talking about asset protection. Is there? Yeah. Oh, and so that's the odd dichotomy is that, if somebody wanted to attribute liability to that person for not talking about it, they could.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons that you and I also do education for broker-dealers and private banks and, insurance companies and others that work with high net worth individuals, where they ask us to come in and talk to their advisors about the things that they should know to protect high net worth individuals like business owners or doctors or whatever it is that they're talking about. Some of the better ones have made that part of their education.
It should be part of everybody's onboarding, and it should just be part of the question. That's what we train. Look, if you're an estate planning attorney, if you're a certified financial planner, if you're a registered investment advisor, if you're a CPA, any of those professions, even if you sell insurance, if you're not saying, hey, have you thought about asset protection? Do you know what it is? Do you understand there's a way which you can protect your assets in the event of a lawsuit? And a lot of people go, oh yeah, I know asset protection. I've got a trust. What they mean is a revocable living trust, and the asset protection they're thinking about is estate taxes. And that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about asset protection against lawsuits, somebody suing you and taking your money. That's the asset protection we're talking about. And unfortunately, if 1% of any of those professionals talk about it, it's probably the highest of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It is not something that is part of their everyday discourse, but it also is a differentiator for those practices. So those that are educated on this end up moving their book and their practice up market in terms of the net worth of the individuals that they're talking to.
More service.
Because, look, and I've joked about this for years with lawyers, financial advisors, CPA, said, look, we all look the same to consumers, right? We all like short hair. Nobody's got any visible tattoos. We're clean up nice. We drive the same 4 or 5 cars. Our offices are all in the same 4 or 5 nice neighborhoods in any city you go into, right? So what is the differentiator when it comes to what we're actually delivering, the service that we're delivering and the value that you're delivering to the client? And, that's why the family office guys, for instance, that I work with who have, whether it's a real family office in the traditional structure or a virtual family office, they've made asset protection part of their platform. Yeah. Where they bring me in and make sure that I at least have a conversation with every single new client to inform them that this exists and to let them know that they have access to some very experienced counsel if they want it. Yeah. Now, we can't make them do the planning, but the advisor is making this part of their platform. And that is part of what is differentiating these advisors, right? Because again, just like the lawyers, they all look the same. They have the same pie chart. They have access to the same products. They have the same dinners at Capitol Grill and Mastros that they invite people to. So what are you doing that's different? Right. What's the value you're adding to your client? And I think that this goes a long way in helping make sure that not only are you managing what they are holding, but you are helping make sure that they are holding it the right way.
So for those advisors who are hearing this and go, yes, I want to do this, how do we do it? And the answer is we have something called the Asset Protection Council that is designed for you. And you would join the Asset Protection Council. That allows you to get access to the education directly with us, the digital marketing, and the assets that you could place on your website, or you can forward directly to your clients, explaining how asset protection works, what the legal tools are, what the strategies are, and ultimately the ability to refer into us at a client directly. And in many cases, share part of the legal fee. So the Asset Protection Council is designed for anybody who is literally has these clients and wants to make this part of the practice. So how does that work? Well, you have many advisors in your network. If somebody said, wow, I really like what I'm saying, I want to be an advisor, you would contact us and say, I saw the video, I'd love to be connected, and they can have you as their personal coach. Is that right?
Absolutely. We're happy to do that. Like I said, we like seeing people succeed, whether it's the advisors we work with or the clients we serve together.
Yeah.
And I think that we can help people do more, keep more, have more predictable futures if we work as teams. And, I'm an expert at one thing, which is asset protection. And I've been smart enough to surround myself with guys who are much smarter at the other things that I don't do. And I see that other successful advisors do the exact same thing.
Yeah. We're all doing the same thing. And so when you're coaching and training somebody, what is their responsibility in that? And how do you make it easy for them? I mean, is it just a matter of you're educating them and then you're doing, you're kind of picking up the ball, or what do you see as the most effective way?
I mean, there are many ways to do it, and they can be excruciatingly involved with every minute detail and take up all kinds of time that's not necessary. We're happy to have to do that if they want to.
Yeah.
I think the smarter way to do it is if you identify somebody who needs our kind of help, to just get us connected directly to the client, let us do the work, let us do the lifting, let us do the analysis, let us put a specific plan together that we can present to the client with great detail that shows them exactly what is going in each bucket that we need to build for them. And we can even give them a fee quote to the exact dollar. And I think that's one of the reasons that you and I have been so successful at this as a team for so many years, is that we do business with successful people who want a specific business proposition.
Right.
They do not want to walk into a law office and have some nebulous plan with a bunch of legal jargon thrown at them that isn't properly explained, and that they never know what is exactly going to cost until the day they open their bill.
And then ongoing and ongoing. It's an open billing where they never really know where it ends.
So I think one of the reasons that people choose us versus some of the other options they have out there is because we're putting a very specific business proposition in front of them. We're saying these are the services we're going to deliver. This is what the result of those will hopefully be. This is what this will cost to the exact dollar if you want us to make these changes. And then they can make a business decision about that the way they do about every other thing in their life. Yeah.
I agree. And that's why we've done it this way for 30 years. I mean, this is how we set up a firm, because I know I don't like being surprised. I don't like having unclarity about how much something's going to cost me. I want to know, and I get to make a decision about it. So Glenn, if somebody wants to actually get involved, they talk to you. Tell us.
Absolutely. We made this so easy. It's just call, email, just connect with us in some way. And we're trying to reach out to you as well. So when we do, get back to us, be inquisitive, learn more, because the value is really in the invitation. You add this as a matter of practice in your conversations with your clients, and regardless of whether it's a good fit, regardless of whether they move forward with it, you have brought value to your client. That's what we're all in the business to do. And it elevates you, like you were saying, elevates you in the eyes of your clients, to where now you are magnetic to those people who want a higher level of quality of service and care in their lives, and people are going to see you in a different light as a result of the way that you have more to provide.
So you can give them access to the information, the program, how it works, and then of course connect them specifically with Ike if they say, hey, I want to be under Ike's just privilege. Because, really the value of this is in the coaching and the closing. In other words, when you refer a client, you want to make sure that client is actually going to become a client and maximize the effect of your referrals. And like, you've been doing it longer than anybody that I work with, I can tell you that. So I think this is a great opportunity for you to reach out. So there's a link in this video below. Click it. That will get you connected with us and with Vlad in particular. And then from there, we can start the process with me. So anything else you want to add?
Today's the day. Today is always the day, whether it is protecting your business or your client. I think, it's a great time of year to be looking at things like this and to have them as part of your firm, your practice, your offerings, or what you're speaking about for the new year. And, we are in a turbulent time in America for lots of different reasons. And I think now is the time to protect yourself.
Yeah, sure. I would agree with that. So thanks for joining us. And just remember, it's your money. And in this case, your client's money.